Goodman, you're on with Ryan Tedder.
Hey, Ryan, good morning.
Morning, how you doing?
Great, man. Last time I saw you, you were bowling and singing a cappella over the Montbello drum line.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was that's right. Yeah, the
bowling ball. That was a fun night, man.
That was a fun night.
So talk to me about what you guys have going on. I'm wondering, maybe the Flobots event sort of spawned an idea of, I don't know, how awesome it is to give back to the community as far as a charity goes. Let's talk about the One Republic show that you're putting on. Isaac and Joe from the Fray, members of the Flobots on board, Matt Morris, Bop Schism, Ogden Theater, December 22nd. Tell me the catalyst, or sort of how you got the idea that you wanted to do this charity here.
So I had the idea a few months ago, actually. I had the idea for the foundation, the Good Life Foundation, about a year ago, because we couldn't, as a band, decide on one thing to actually get behind. There were so many issues and causes that we separately believed in, so I decided to create a canopy foundation that allows us to give to causes and charities kind of as they need it, and not as we see fit, but kind of as they need it. And the idea for the show came about a few months ago at a dinner with Governor Hickenlooper, and we were talking about, the whole dinner was about music, and we were talking about just different things in Denver, music-oriented and how it could be tied in with charities. And I posed the question, I was like, well, has anybody ever done an acoustic show around Christmas time for charity, or annually ever? And nobody could think of anybody at the dinner. So that's kind of where the catalyst for the idea came. And it was right after that we did the bowling event. And that kind of, I was like, well, okay, this obviously works. And then, one thing led to another. And funny enough, it came together like about a week ago, like not this past weekend, but the weekend before. I was like, well, if this is going to happen, it needs to happen now. So we hit up the Ogden, found out their availability, and then I just texted everybody. I texted Joe and Isaac and Bob Schism, Matt Morris, and just said, is everybody in town on December 22nd? Everybody said yes, and that was it. And it came together real quick.
So, I mean, you've lived in different places besides just Denver. I mean, you spent time in Nashville, and you spent obviously a lot of time in L.A. What is it about Denver specifically, man, that you think, in your opinion, having been to these places, why is this working here? This feels like something that you couldn't necessarily pull off in another town.
I think it's the high alcohol consumption of everybody in town.
Yes.
I know. I think, you know what, man? That's a good question. Yeah, if it was in L.A., I spent years there and have a lot of good friends there. But if I was sitting there, texting random people in L.A., random recording artists, there's always something else going on, and people leave L.A. It's a transient city, so very few people there. New York is the same way. I think that there's something that's very prideful in a good way about artists that live in Denver or from Colorado and that are based here. It's just a community pride that you don't get in larger cities. And what's amazing, I was thinking about this driving around yesterday. There's something like, I think 8 or 9 artists signed to major labels out of Denver, which is remarkable.
Wow. You
couldn't say that about Dallas. You couldn't say that about Seattle or, Cincinnati. I don't know if you could say that about Chicago.
Yeah.
There's a thriving music scene here that's kind of shocking in a way. It doesn't make sense, but I think that what happens is when one artist makes it and takes it to the next level, it inspires, it kind of tells everybody around you, hey, this is possible from Denver. And I think that, again, there's this sense of community pride, and so people want to do anything they can to help out Denver causes. And I haven't really seen it in any other city. I didn't see it in Nashville like this, or New York, or L.A. So I think it's pretty singular to Denver.
Is there anyone in particular right now, locally, that that has caught your eye, that's on your radar, artist-wise, that you're like, man, this is something that maybe will go somewhere, or someone I'd like to work with? Have you seen that recently with anyone?
Let's see, locally, yeah. There's a number. I'm absolutely terrible with names.
That's all right.
There's an artist in town. It's a female artist. She's actually kind of been with a number of different groups and sang on some rap hooks. I'm spacing on her name right now, but there's been a lot of interest in her locally. My drummer actually found her, and the girl can sing like if you put her on The Voice or any of those TV shows like American Idol, The Voice, X Factor, she would, if not make it to the to the finals, she would win. She has an absolutely phenomenal voice. I feel like an idiot because, again, I'm spacing on her name.
That's all right.
There's some rap talent here. Obviously, the Breathe Carolina guys are doing all right.
Yep.
They've got a huge hit out right now. There's a lot of local talent brewing. I was a panel judge with Isaac from the Fray for a Battle of the Bands. I think what it was about 9 months ago, something like that. And the guys that won was this band. They were all like 15, and seriously, it was like watching Vampire Weekend before they were Vampire Weekend.
Wow.
It was that cool and that different. And I was just like, where are you people coming from? Like, what's in the water? I know it makes really good beer, but like apparently it turns out some really good music too. So I have a funny feeling. I mean, I'm based here in all the artists that I work with and that I produce and write for, they all come through Denver now and they love it. And Frank E, DJ Frank E's had a bunch of huge hits this past year. He's from Denver, so I don't know, man. It is really peculiar, but we're kind of having a musical renaissance. A number of A&Rs that I'm friends with in New York compared Denver to Seattle back when Seattle was popping off and everybody was going there to find new talent. A&Rs are flying to Denver now, and that's the truth.
I know that you did build this pretty, big state-of-the-art studio here in town. I mean, you could have built that anywhere, but you obviously chose to make this your home base. And, artists that want to work with you, they have to come through here. And I'm wondering, you said that they're probably a little reluctant, like, Denver, why am I going to Colorado to do this album? Why aren't I not in L.A. or Nashville? And then they come here, and they're like, wow, this place is pretty cool. Is that the response you've gotten? I mean, reluctance at first?
Oh, yeah, across the board, man. From everybody from Adele to Maroon 5, to you name the artist. I've got a single out right now with Gavin DeGraw, his current single, Not Over You. We did that. We cut that here in Denver. I've done probably half of Maroon 5's new record. It's kind of all over the map, from rock and funk, like their first album, to straight up dance stuff. And Adam Levine was out here for a week. He's going to come back out again for another week. Everybody that's come through here that I've worked with has loved it. Absolutely everybody. And it's actually, I was nervous about it at first. I was like, man, it's not LA, it's not New York. But what I found is that every artist that's toured through Denver loves Denver. I'm yet to have a single artist complain or say, oh my God, I can't believe I have to go there. They're literally excited about it. I'm trying to think who it was recently. I said I wanted to do something with them, and they said as long as, oh yeah, Florence from Florence and the Machine.
Wow. We've
been talking for the last 9 months about connecting in the studio, and she wanted to come work with me. And I ran into her. I was at the U2 show in Nashville. She was opening up, and I talked to her afterwards, and she said, I'd absolutely love to work for you as long as it's not in Los Angeles. Could it be like where you live in Denver? I was like, sure.
Yes, it could be.
Easy.
That's great.
Yes, it could be. American Airlines and United both fly to Denver. So
that's
anyway,
cool.
I've had zero pushback, man. Adele did complain that the air's a little dry. It dries out her throat, which, ironically, the last show she did before she completely damaged her vocal cords was the Ogden show here in Denver.
We got to ruin it for everyone, don't we? Let's get back to your charity organization here, the Good Life Foundation. I mean, when I these days think of pop music and stuff that's dominating the charts right now, a lot of the songs, they're fun, they're catchy, they're somewhat superficial. You're talking about last Friday night, I got drunk and I can't remember where I put this, and Vegas craziness. Is it sort of in the back of your head like, hey man, I'm in this pop world, maybe I'd like to move the needle from less superficial to more altruistic stuff? Is that something in the back of your head at all?
Yeah, man. No, you got it. I mean, look, my band, it's so funny, man. The way that we started, we used to be signed to Columbia Records. Ironically, we got dropped the same week that Katy Perry got dropped by Columbia. They dropped OneRepublic and Katy Perry and a couple other acts. And but when we were signed, they were breaking us originally as an alternative act. We have a song on YouTube called Sleep that's like this 5.5-minute long, kind of like me trying to channel my best Jeff Buckley. And that's what we were. We were straight up alternative and Coachella and the whole 9 yards. And then everything switched for us when it wasn't even going to be our first single, but one of our songs, Apologize, got remixed by the biggest pop producer in the world, Timbaland.
Yes.
So that kind of that removed any choice that we had in determining exactly what type of genre or type of band we were going to be. At that point, it's like, you have the biggest pop hit in the world. There's no turning back. So then we thought, okay, I mean, it kind of sucks when you've kind of spent 5 years gearing towards one thing and you end up shifting to another. But I decided, okay, if we're going to be on a band that's played a lot on pop radio, then let's try and put out the coolest stuff we can for pop radio, and let's try and be the alternative to what's out there. And one thing that I'm keenly aware of right now is the death of rock and of bands in general, and of the rock format. And it's disturbing that the same station that 10, 15 years ago you'd hear Black Hole Sun blasting every hour on the hour. And now in a million years that wouldn't happen, on pop radio. So I'm not under any, misguided illusions that it's going to shift back there anytime soon. But there has to be something else other than dance music and other than put your hands in the air and, like you said, last Friday night. Or
right.
All the crazy party songs. There has to be somebody singing about something else and putting something else out there. And I do look at us, One Republic, The Fray, other bands here in town as kind of the last handful of people holding the torch. I was looking at the charts the other day, in the UK radio charts, Radio 1's chart, and the US charts to kind of get an idea of what's going on. I counted inside the top 40, I think 3 or 4 bands, as in actually play instruments. That's less than 10% of everything.
Wow!
And on the Radio 1 chart, there was one. There was one band out of 40 artists, and then of course Adele, which is obviously she's doing her own thing. But anyway, I could go on and on about this topic, but I do think for my band, for One Republic, we're trying to, if we're one of the only bands that's actually getting played anymore on pop radio, then we're trying to say something different that actually has some level of, like you said, altruism or meaning, substance behind it, because you can only eat so many Baby Ruths and Snickers before you throw up. And so we're trying to sneak in a little, I don't know, a little lobster ravioli or something.
Not so much corn syrup in the music, I guess. Pop-truistic.
Yeah.
There's the term. We could be the center for pop-truistic. Denver could be.
Pop-truistic. Pop-truism.
Yeah, exactly. Well, cool, man. I appreciate your time, and this is going to be a great event. This is just an example of how awesome of a community we live in, obviously. December 22nd at the Ogden, One Republic, Isaac and Joe from The Fray, members of the Flobots, Matt Morris, Bop Schism. I mean, the only thing that could make that more awesome is if Tim Tebow came. I don't know, maybe you've texted him too, and he didn't get back to you yet.
I'm not. Let me just put this out there. I'm not gonna rule that out. I'm not gonna confirm that he is, but I'm definitely not gonna say that he's not.
Okay.
And I know that sounds a little ridiculous, but let's just say that the possibility is there.
Perfect.
Yeah, and you can also, one other thing I wanted to throw out there.
Yes.
The tickets are $39.50, and then we have other tickets. They're 100% of the proceeds going to charity, Denver Santa Claus Shop, Food Bank of the Rockies, and Children's Hospital. And for $150, we're doing a VIP package, which you get VIP tickets and seating upstairs at the Ogden. And you get a cocktail party, and you get to hang with some of the artists, including us, after the show.
Perfect. Ryan, thanks so much, and thanks for doing it, man. It's a great idea. I hope it becomes an annual tradition around here. We certainly, I think it could do it.
I would love that.
Excellent.
Yeah, man, it'd be awesome.
Thanks again, man. Take care of yourself.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.